With only 2.7 kilometers of tramway, 6 stops, and a rather unique power supply system, Newcastle may well have Australia's most peculiar light rail system. However, due to it being the world's shortest tramway system whose purpose is not related to tourist activities, its controversial existence is quick to create questions, such as whether this shorter line was worth building when they could have left things be and built a more comprehensive bus rapid transit system instead. This is the Gunshot Line, and you're watching a deep dive into the Newcastle light rail system. Newcastle, the Australian one, not the one in the UK, was founded nearly 2 centuries ago in 1804. Since then, the city has attracted 180,000 people, expanded into multiple neighborhoods, and created a booming coal industry. But most importantly for us, it built a railway line into the heart of the city, closed it, and then promptly replaced it with the world's shortest tramway line. A decision that may sound ridiculous because it probably is. It all started in December of 2014 when the aforementioned Newcastle Railway Line, a small branch built off of the main North Line in 1857, was partially closed. This closure reduced the branching line from its original 4 stations down to just the 2 and a mere 2 kilometers of railway. The idea, which was mainly promoted by businesses and the interests of property developers, aimed to redevelop the foreshore and to unify the city center. Thus, after years of debate, the decision to close the line was taken in December of 2012, with plans to carry it out in 2014, a decision that would be long disputed throughout the city. In the 2 years between the announcement and the actual closure, substantial backlash was encountered by city officials. Local newspapers advocated against the decision, saying it was a solution for a problem that never existed to begin with and calling it a fraud. Protests were organized and resignations from city officials occurred in the months leading to the closure. Even as far as on December 24 of 2014, the day prior to the closure of the line, court action was being taken to prevent the railway line from being dismantled and allow more time for studies to be taken. And although initially given, none of it stopped the interest of development groups, and eventually the railway was closed and dismantled. In the place of the railway, the tram was born. Albeit a waste of money in the eyes of many, it was proposed soon after the rail closure to appease those who were critical of the action. It would have 6 stops, 2.7 kilometers of rail, and cost over 600 million Australian dollars. This left many unimpressed, especially when a slower and more expensive on-street route was chosen instead of following the already existing rail line. According to cabinet documents, the massive price tag meant that the line would cost about 220 million Australian dollars per kilometer, including construction, maintenance, and operational costs. In comparison, the first 12 kilometers of the Canberra Light Rail, which also opened in 2019, cost about 675 million Australian dollars, or close to 56 million per kilometer. That is almost 4 times cheaper than in Newcastle. Finally, heavy construction for the line started halfway through 2017, with construction wrapping up within a year and a half. Thus, after another couple of months of testing, the line opened to the public in February of 2019. So, 7 years after its opening and 11 after the rail closure, was the tram actually worth it? Well, it goes without saying that modern public transport infrastructure is always worth it on its own. And props to city officials for actually building public transport when they could have simply closed the rail line. However, in this case, the budget would have probably been better spent elsewhere, simply for the fact that the line is too short to be of any real service and is, for all intents and purposes, just a reroute of the old rail line. And the numbers also show it. Before the closure of the Civic and Newcastle railway stations, a combined total of 2,040 passengers went through on a daily basis. Whereas now, as of 2023, the light rail carries approximately 2,900 passengers every day. That is an increase of 800 passengers per day for what is a $600 million project. As well, another thing affecting the tram's actual usefulness that we should discuss is the light rail's battery system, because it's just weird. See, the tram does not have an overhead catenary, but neither does it follow the example of Bordeaux by having them on the ground. Instead, they have charging bays at each stop where the trams can recharge the battery. Now, why is this so weird? Because it just does not seem to be that efficient at all. When the tram opens its doors, the pantograph takes 5 seconds to be fully raised. It then takes another 25 seconds to charge and takes another 5 to fully lower. This just is not efficient in terms of travel times. According to Google Maps, it is taking 12 minutes from the tram to go from one end of the line to the other. Meanwhile, a car takes 6 minutes to do the same route, and a bus takes 8 minutes. Thus, this tram, which has dedicated right of way for 80% of its path, is lower than a bus. It just doesn't make sense. So, make up your own opinions about this light rail, but I will say that if the bus is quicker than a tram with private lanes, something is wrong. And considering the large price tag, maybe they should have just stuck with buses. You know, buses are not everyone's favorite mode of transport, but if it's useful, the people will come. And not to take anything away from the tram, it's great. I won't say otherwise, but it is in dire need of an extension. And whilst an extension from Broadmeadow to the current line is in the planning phase, with the route already decided, a New South Wales Transit spokesperson has already said that it may be years before funding is secured. In a city which has taken steps to improve its transit, but admittedly not done enough.